What if you opened your eyes in the middle of a storm, surging waves, a shattered sky, and no memory of how you got there? What would you do, floating in a strange wooden wreck surrounded by monstrous clouds and worse things beneath the surface? Would you scream? Would you pray? Or would you do what you do now, cling to life as the sea tries to drag it from you? The rain pelts your skin like sharp pebbles, freezing and furious. Lightning cracks overhead, a jagged spear across the heavens. Thunder roars so loud it swallows your thoughts. The water's surface heaves violently, sending your pathetic excuse for a boat, if it could even be called that, spinning like a leaf in a hurricane. The salt stings your eyes and your hands are bleeding from where you've gripped splintered wood for hours. Or has it been days? You don't remember how you got here. No island, no other ships. Just open water, a broken hull, and something enormous moving below the surface. A shadow, massive, circular, rising. You freeze. That thing, that's not a fish. It's not even a whale, it's something worse. Instinct screams at you, Sea King. Its head breaches the surface serpent-like and ancient. Yellow eyes lock onto your frail form, and for a moment the storm itself seems to pause as if paying respect to what's about to happen. You think you're going to die, and then it happens. A shape crashes through the air, rubber arms, straw hat grinning like a madman. He hits the Sea King with a punch so hard it makes the ocean recoil. Gomu Gomu no Pastel. The creature bellows and vanishes beneath the waves, vanquished by a boy who looks like he's barely old enough to drink. He turns in mid-air, lands on your tiny raft like it's solid ground, and leans forward looking at you with wide, curious eyes. You okay? You try to speak, but no words come out. You only nod, water streaming down your face that isn't just rain. He grins. Awesome, you're coming with us. A blur of orange and black drops beside him. Another voice, a girl's, calls out Luffy. Hurry up, we're already off course. Gotcha, Nami, he shouts back, lifting you with an impossible ease. Hey, what's your name? You murmur it, dazed, half-conscious. Cool, I'm Monkey D. Luffy. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. He says it like it's already a fact. Like the sea itself has to bow to his will. And then he jumps with you in his arms up into the sky. And you see it, the Thousand Sunny, a lion-headed ship impossibly bright in the storm. Glowing lamps sway with the wind. The flag flaps white skull crossbones and a straw hat. The Jolly Roger of the Straw Hat Pirates. You're in One Piece. The salty breeze confirms it. You're in the world of One Piece. A journey of dreams, danger, and destiny awaits as the Straw Hats enter a thriller bark. And you step aboard at the very edge of legend. If you're ready to set sail on this adventure, drop an anchor in the comments and hit that subscribe button. Every Nakama counts on this journey. What would be your first move in this world? Share below. Take a deep breath. Feel the ocean calling. And let's dive into your story. The Grand Line awaits. Luffy drops you onto the deck and suddenly you're surrounded. Who's that? Usopp yells, pointing a shaking finger at you. A ghost. A storm spirit. He's soaked to the bone, Sanji mutters, already moving toward the kitchen. Chopper medical check now. Nami, stern-faced and soaked, crouches in front of you. Where did Luffy find you? You blink, teeth chattering. I don't know. Zoro leans against the massed swords at his hip, watching silently with one open eye. Chopper rushes to your side in his tiny reindeer form. You're not hurt badly, but your pulse is high. Stress trauma, maybe. Frankie whistles as he wrings water from his Hawaiian shirt. Talk about a dramatic entrance. Super. You barely register the rest. Robin stands a little apart, eyes calm but alert. Brook leans on the railing, his empty sockets, watching the storm like it's music. It's too much, too fast. You pass out. When you wake, you're in a warm room with wooden walls and a faint hum under your body. The infirmary, you realize. Bandaged, dry, alive. The sea is calm now. You sit up slowly, and through a round window you see the fog in the distance, gray and thick, like a ghost waiting just off the horizon. The door opens. Luffy steps in holding a tray with a bowl of meat stew. You hungry? Your stomach growls before you can answer. He hands you the bowl, plops down beside you, and stares out at the fog. We're heading to Thriller Bark. Weird island. Haunted, they say. He grins. Sounds fun, huh? You don't know what to say. Because nothing, absolutely nothing makes sense. And yet, it feels right. You take a bite of stew. It's delicious. And somehow, despite everything, you smile. The next morning greets you with sunlight streaking through the infirmary window, golden gentle and completely at odds with the fog that still lingers ahead. You swing your legs off the cot, testing your balance. You're sore but alive. The taste of the stew still lingers, faintly comforting. You barely have time to breathe before the door bursts open. "Oi, mystery guest, it's Usopp." Arms crossed dramatically, Captain wants you on deck. You blink. Why? He frowns. Because we don't bring strangers to haunted islands without asking questions. Now move it. You follow him up the stairs, the hum of the ship's systems buzzing softly beneath your feet. The scent of fresh wood engine oil and ocean air washes over you as you step into the full brightness of the deck. The straw hats are gathered in a loose semicircle eyes on you. Luffy sits cross-legged on a barrel, staring like he's trying to read your soul. Nami taps her foot impatiently. Zoro's asleep, probably faking it. Robin offers a faint nod in greeting. Sanji lights a cigarette but doesn't speak. Chopper fidgets beside Frankie, who flexes absently. Brook plays a somber note on his violin and says, "Yo ho ho, I hope you're not another ghost." Luffy tilts his head. "So, where'd you come from? You open your mouth, then close it. What can you say that you woke up in the middle of a sea from a world that isn't supposed to exist? That the name One Piece is fiction, but you're somehow part of it now." You take a deep breath. "I don't know. I just woke up out there, the storm, the wreck. That's all I remember." Silence. Then Zoro snorts. Convenient. Zoro, Robin murmurs, "No, he's right." Nami says, arms folded. You appear out of nowhere in a storm. No ID, no history. Right before we hit one of the weirdest places in the Grand Line. "I didn't ask for this," you say, voice low. "I didn't even know this world existed." The words come out before you can stop them. Too much honesty, too much truth. Robin tilts her head. Her eyes narrow thoughtfully, not unkindly. "What do you mean, this world?" Luffy grins. He's like Brook. Another weirdo. He hops off the barrel. "Let's see if you can fight." "What?" Zoro unsheathes one sword. "That's how we do things around here. Talk is cheap." "You step back. I don't have powers. I'm not strong like you guys." Luffy cracks his knuckles. "Doesn't matter. If you're joining us, we need to see what you can do." "I never said I was joining." "Too late," Nami says dryly. Luffy already declared it. "Yup," he says cheerfully. "You're our new crewmate." You stare at him. This is insane. But the words slip out anyway. "Fine, I'll fight." The crew clears space on the deck. Zoro steps forward, drawing only one blade Wado Ichimonji. His eye meets yours, serious yet restrained. "I won't kill you," he says. "But I won't go easy either." You swallow hard. "Think. What do you have? What can you do?" The answer, nothing. No power, no weapon, no advantage. Just your instincts, your fear, and something deep in your gut telling you this moment matters. Zoro moves. He's fast, ridiculously fast. His sword whistles as it slices the air toward your side. You throw yourself flat. The blade passes inches above you. You roll, stumble upright, and try to backpedal, but he's there again. A flash of steel. Your foot snags a coil of rope and you go down hard. Pain shoots up your back. Zoro stops with the blade resting against your collarbone. You freeze. The blade retracts. "Not bad," he mutters, sheathing his sword. "Not good either," Sanji says, blowing out smoke. "Kid's got guts, not skills." "He didn't cry or beg," Chopper adds. Brook strums his violin. "That earns some respect. Yo ho 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 ho." Luffy laughs. "You'll learn. Everyone starts somewhere." Robin smiles faintly. Experience isn't the only kind of strength. Frankie claps you on the back so hard you nearly fall over again. You'll toughen up. Maybe we'll build you something super. Your heart races. You're shaking. Not from fear, but adrenaline. You're not part of them. Not really. But for now, they're letting you stand among them. You look out toward the fog that now surrounds the ship. The sun's gone behind it, casting everything in a bluish, ghostly light. The water below is calm, too calm. Thriller bark looms. A massive, drifting island ship made of stitched towers and tombstone walls. It rises from the sea like a fortress built from nightmares. You hear Nami curse under her breath. "It's bigger than I thought." Usopp clutches his slingshot. "Why is it always haunted places with us?" Zoro yawns. "Just another island." "No." Brooke says softly, standing at the railing. This is no ordinary island. This is where shadows are stolen and the dead dance. You glance around. Every straw hat, even the fearless ones, are tense. And now you're one of them. Sort of. But you can feel it too, that strange pressure in the air. Like the world just changed its rules and forgot to tell you. Get ready, Luffy says, his voice lower now, focused. We're going in. You nod, muscles, still trembling eyes fixed on the silhouette of the island. You're not sure what's waiting in that fog. But something inside you whispers, this is where it begins. The Thousand Sunny pushes forward, cutting through the mist like a torch through cobwebs. You stand near the bow, gripping the railing, the cold sea breeze biting through your shirt. Every sound feels amplified out here, the creak of the ship's wood, the groan of the ocean beneath the soft flutter of the Straw Hat Jolly Roger above. Even your own breath sounds loud. Look alive, Frankie calls from the helm, scanning the looming shoreline. We're almost at the dock. Thriller bark rises out of the sea like something torn from a funeral's fever dream. Stone spires jag upward like skeletal fingers. Crumbling Gothic towers arch over wide plazas and cracked streets. The sea around it is dead still. No seagulls, no waves, just silence. Creepy Chopper mutters, peeking out from behind Usopp. Creepy doesn't cover it, Nami says, steering with practiced precision. It's like the island is waiting. As the ship docks with a wooden clunk, Luffy hops off without hesitation. Let's go! Zoro follows. Sanji rolls his shoulders and lights another cigarette. Nami curses but steps down behind Robin, who walks like she's seen this 100 times before. Even Brook hesitates only briefly, his bony fingers tightening around his cane. You lag at the back, unsure. You coming, Usopp asks, raising an eyebrow. You nod and step onto the island. Instantly the air changes. It's heavier. Mustier. It smells like whetstone rust and something faintly wrong, like the memory of old blood. You hear a distant laugh echo through the fog. High-pitched, almost childish, but twisted. Did you hear that, you ask? Probably zombies, Brook says with a casual shrug. They'll be along shortly. Your feet crunch over broken cobblestones. Moss creeps between cracks. A flock of strange bat-like creatures flies overhead in an erratic, chittering pattern. No one speaks. Then the ground shakes, only slightly but enough to make your stomach lurch. Luffy grins. Something fun's coming. Or something awful. Nami growls. Stick to the plan. Quick recon, get info, avoid splitting up. So naturally, 2 minutes later, everyone's split up. You're with Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper. The others vanish into the fog like ink into water. It's not on purpose, it just happens. One wrong turn down a cracked path, a collapsing archway, and you're alone with 3 of the most unpredictable crew members. This way, Luffy shouts, running off after something he swears is food. Wait, Captain Usopp chases after him. Chopper looks at you. Don't let them get too far ahead. You sprint. The island blurs past crumbling mausoleum stone gargoyles watching from above, twisting paths that lead nowhere and everywhere. Then the fog parts, and you see it. A massive mansion looms ahead, towering dark windows shattered and gaping like empty eyes. At its base is a strange fountain, dry and cracked with statues of weeping angels, and a basin filled not with water, but shadows. They writhe slightly. Luffy is already approaching it. Usopp grabs his shoulder. Don't touch it. Luffy's eyes narrow. He sniffs the air. Something's here. You feel it too. A prickling on the back of your neck. Like being watched by something that doesn't breathe. Then from behind the fountain movement, 3 shapes stagger out, groaning jerky, patchwork together like dolls. Eyes white and empty. One has a lion's head stitched to a man's body. Another drags a sword twice its size. The last looks like a samurai with no face. Z zombies, Chopper shrieks. No way, Usopp raises his slingshot. Luffy grins wide. You freeze. They rush. Luffy launches forward with a Gomu no rocket, smashing the lion-headed one into the stone wall. Chopper transforms into his guard point form and shields Usopp. You, unarmed, untrained, can only dodge as the sword-wielding zombie brings its blade crashing down. You roll, stumble, feel stone scrape your palms. Think, move, survive. You grab a length of iron pipe from the ground and swing it into the zombie's leg. It barely flinches, but its balance shifts, and Usopp nails it with a Firebird star. The zombie ignites, howling as it crashes into the samurai one. The third begins to rise again. You back up until your foot touches the fountain's edge, and the shadows move. You feel a pulse, like a second heartbeat that isn't yours. The shadows reach toward your foot, slow but deliberate, like tendrils drawn by scent. And then, don't! Brook's voice rings through the courtyard. He appears out of the fog, sword-drawn cloak fluttering. Don't let the shadows touch you, he says, voice grave. Or you may never get them back. Luffy slams down the last zombie and silence returns to the courtyard. You stare at the fountain. The shadows settle. But not before one of them briefly forms a mirror of your face, grinning warped. You stumble back hard-hammering. Luffy dusts off his hands. That was fun. Usopp collapses. How is this fun? Brook approaches you. His skull tilts slightly. You're new, he says. You nod, still breathing hard. He leans forward. Do you have a shadow? You blink. What? He steps around you, circling slowly, then nods. Yes, you do. For now. His voice drops. Be careful. This place steals more than light. And just like that, your shadow stretches in front of you, swaying, as if it were waiting. You don't sleep that night. Not really. Even though you return to the ship, even though Chopper checks you over again and tells you you're fine, even though Sanji insists on feeding everyone a massive hot meal to keep up morale, your nerves remain raw. Your shadow feels off, like it's not quite attached, like it's a second heartbeat twitching against the deck. You're lying on a futon in the men's quarters, eyes open, listening to Brook softly plucking his violin in the distance. The melody is low, lonely. It dances with the waves outside the porthole. You wonder if this place ever truly sleeps. Your body finally gives in near dawn, but your dreams are worse than the waking world. You're running through fog. You hear Luffy's voice in the distance laughing, but it's wrong. Hollow. Your feet leave shadows behind you and something is following them. No eating them. The light in your dream dims every time your shadow is torn away piece by piece. You wake with a gasp. It's early. Pale gray light seeps through the room. You sit up and realize you're alone. Everyone else is already up. You hear voices above deck, quiet but urgent. You scramble up the stairs and emerge into morning fog. 3 more zombies tried to board last night. Nami is saying, arms crossed, I'm not liking this. Zoro yawns, stretching beside her. So we cut them down. Big deal. Not the point, she snaps. Brook is pacing. He stops when he sees you. Good, you're awake. You walk over slowly, still half in the grip of the dream. What happened last night, you ask, after we got back? Robin speaks up, her voice calm. The shadows moved. We saw them stretching out over the sea. Some tried to reach the sunny. Brook turns toward you. You saw the fountain, yes. You nod. He hesitates, then points to your feet. Watch. You look down. Your shadow is moving, not just in sync with your body, but slightly behind, like it's thinking about something else. Plotting. Everyone sees it. That's not normal, is it, you ask? Brook sighs. No. Chopper frowns. But you're not missing your shadow. Brook shakes his skull. No, but something else may be happening. Nami folds her arms. We've dealt with Moria before. We know what he does, but this is new. You turn toward Luffy. He's unusually silent. He finally speaks. Do you feel different? You pause. Yes, but not like you expected. There's a cold weight in your chest. Not pain, more like a presence. It's subtle, like a whisper at the edge of thought. I feel like something's watching me from inside. Zoro grips his sword hilt slightly tighter. Usopp gulps. Robin watches you closely. Describe it. You try. It's like something echoed from that fountain, and it followed me back. Brook steps forward, pressing something into your hand. A small fragment of something dark. Solidified shadow, cold as ice. This was in your bunk, he says. You stare at it. It pulses faintly in your palm. Brook lowers his voice. That might be a fragment of the Kage Kage no Mi. What? Chopper gasps. But Moria has that fruit, Nami says. How could he? Brook shakes his head. Devil fruits can act strangely around their own kind. If he altered part of his power, fragmented it through his experiments. And if our new friend stepped too close to it. Robin finishes his thought. Then part of the fruit's nature may have bonded to them. You stare at the fragment in your hand. It shivers, then dissolves into vapor, sinking into your skin like mist into cloth. And in that moment, you feel it. A shadow. Not yours, not alive, but present. Somewhere nearby, something else responds. You whip around, nothing there. But now your hands are shaking. Am I becoming like Moria? No, Robin says gently. But you may be connected to him now. Brook nods. That means he may be able to sense you. Just as you may be able to sense him. A thought flickers through your mind. He's already aware. Somewhere on this island in one of its broken towers, a massive figure stirs in the gloom. Gecko Moria, Lord of Shadows. You don't know how, but you feel it. He knows you've touched his legacy, and now you're on his list. Luffy slaps a hand on your shoulder, grinning. Cool. Shadow powers are fun. You blink. I'm serious, this could be dangerous. So is everything here? He shrugs. Just means you're one of us now. You search his face. There's no hesitation, no fear. Just Luffy being Luffy embracing chaos like it's breakfast. Your mouth twitches into a reluctant smile. You've got guts, I'll give you, that Zoro says. Just don't turn into a zombie, Usopp mutters. You take a deep breath, steadying your nerves. Fog still blankets the shore. But the crew is moving again, gathering supplies, prepping weapons, laying plans. You're one of them now. And whatever's waiting in Thriller Bark, you're walking toward it. Not alone. Not anymore. The fog thickens as you step back onto Thriller Bark. It swirls around your ankles like it's alive. Cool, damp, and strangely quiet. You walk beside Luffy, Usopp, and Brook, while the rest of the crew fans out in smaller teams, each taking a different route to explore and secure the perimeter. Nami's orders were clear. Map, identify threats, regroup before sundown. But every instinct in you knows this island doesn't care about your plans. The place watches. Not with eyes, but with memory. Each decaying mansion, each crooked gravestone, each archway with symbols long faded, seems to remember something. A time before you arrived. Before even the straw hats. You pass by a collapsed wall with scratch marks gouged into the stone, deep chaotic. Those weren't made by zombies, Brook murmurs. You don't ask what he means. The deeper you go, the quieter it gets. Even Luffy doesn't speak much. Eventually you reach a large iron gate, bent and rusted, partially hanging from a single hinge. Beyond it lies what looks like an abandoned garden statues of winged figures covered in moss, a cracked path winding toward a blackened manor deeper in the fog. That's when the shadows shift. You feel it first, not with your eyes, but with that strange presence inside you. A pull. Gentle like a tide under your feet, coaxing you forward. You stop walking. Something wrong, Usopp asks, voice tight. I think we should go this way. Brook tilts his skull. Why? You hesitate, then say it. I think something's calling me. Luffy's eyes light up. Let's go. No hold on Usopp reaches for him, but too late. The gate creaks open at Luffy's touch. You walk through your heartbeat, a drum in your ears. The shadows on the path stretch unnaturally as you move. They shift moment by moment, even though the light hasn't changed. Something is here. You approach the manor. Its front door is slightly ajar. Inside, it's cold. Much colder than it should be. The walls are covered in peeling wallpaper and massive curtains hang stiff with dust. The air smells of rotted fabric and something faintly metallic like old blood. You step inside last, and the moment you do, the door swings shut behind you with a deafening bang. You spin around, locked. Classic horror move, Usopp mutters, raising his slingshot. Brook unsheathes his sword. Stay sharp. The dead do not rest here. The room opens into a large circular foyer with a stairway splitting into 2 levels. A chandelier above swings gently even though there's no wind. At the base of the stairs, a small pedestal stands holding something wrapped in faded cloth. You approach it slowly. The cloth flutters slightly. The moment your fingers touch it, flash, a vision. Not like a dream. It hits like a punch to the skull. You see shadows moving in lines marching. Rows and rows of hollow-eyed bodies, dragging behind them their own darkness. And above them towering Moria's silhouette. His laughter echoes like broken glass. Then pain. The vision lurches and you're yanked backward. You fall to your knees, gasping. Hey, Luffy is by your side instantly. You okay? You nod barely. I saw something. A memory. Like, the shadows remember. Brook helps you up. You may be sinking with the power. If it's part of the Keigakei Gonomi, it carries imprints, the lives of the ones it touched. You stagger back from the pedestal. Why me? No one answers. The air thickens again. And then laughter. Not Moria's. High-pitched, childlike, cruel. A shape drops from the ceiling, a floating girl with pink pigtails and parasol in hand. Perona. Her eyes lock onto you with immediate curiosity. Well, what's this, a new pet? You're not from around here. Brook's sword is up instantly. Luffy steps in front of you, but she tilts her head, smile widening. Interesting. You're not like the others. She floats closer, her ghostly minions materializing behind her. You've touched the darkness, haven't you? You're part of it now. You try to speak, but her gaze holds you in place. Perona points her parasol at you. Let's play. A ghost rushes forward. Before you can react, it phases through you, and you collapse face first into the marble floor. Every fiber of your being suddenly feels worthless, pathetic, insignificant. You're trash. Garbage. Why are you even here? You clutch your head. The darkness within you is laughing, but this time it's yours. You hate yourself. You should never have come. Oi. Luffy's voice cuts through the fog in your mind. He walks up to Perona face blank. That wasn't nice. Perona smirks. What are you going to do about it? Straw Hat. Luffy reaches down, grabs your collar, and yanks you upright. You're one of my crew now, he says, voice unwavering. We don't fall apart like that. You stare at him, and somehow the fog in your mind thins. Just enough. You plant your feet, and your shadow pulses beneath you. Perona notices. Her smile falters. You're not supposed to bounce back that fast. You raise your head. I don't know what's happening to me, you say, voice hoarse. But whatever it is, it's mine now. Perona frowns. That's so annoying. You hear the flap of wings. She's retreating. Let's see how long your little confidence lasts, she hisses and vanishes through the ceiling. You're left shaking but standing, and for the first time, the shadow inside you doesn't feel alien. It feels like armor. Your legs feel like jelly as the silence returns to the abandoned manor. Usopp walks over and pats your shoulder, his fingers trembling slightly. You all right, man? You nod. I think so. Luffy's still watching you, not smiling now, but serious in that rare way only he can be. You get the sense he's not judging you, not questioning your worth. He's just waiting for you to stand up, to move forward. Brook sheathes his sword. You resisted the negative hollow's despair faster than most. Impressive. You wipe cold sweat from your brow, glancing down at your shadow. It doesn't flicker or waver anymore. It pulses with a steady rhythm. Yours. The weight in your chest has settled. Still present. Still strange. But no longer foreign. Something unlocked when that ghost passed through you. Instead of being consumed by the hopelessness, something inside you pushed back. A sliver of control. You leave the manor behind, stepping into daylight or what passes for it under Thriller Bark's ever-present gloom. The clouds above swirl unnaturally. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbles, but there's no lightning, no storm. Just the constant murmur of unease across the island. As you walk, you keep looking at the ground. You try something simple. Move. Your shadow doesn't respond. You narrow your eyes. Stretch. A faint ripple. Like it heard you but isn't sure if it should obey. You grit your teeth. Concentrate. And then, a tendril of your shadow peels away from your feet just an inch like a breath drawn too far. Then it snaps back. You nearly stumble. Brook raises a bony brow. You're awakening to it. To what? The language of shadows. You frown. Language. Brook nods slowly, walking beside you now. Shadows don't speak in words. They speak in feeling, in memory. They move when they trust you, and they stop when they don't. You absorb his words as the group pushes through an overgrown pathway. Vines choke the path. Fog drips between gnarled trees like curtains of dust. Do you think this has something to do with Moria's devil fruit, you ask? Brook's reply is quiet. Absolutely, but the way it manifests in you is different. You pass a shattered statue of a dragon-headed knight. Beneath its broken pedestal is a shallow basin cracked and filled with black water. Your shadow recoils slightly as you pass it. You stop. What's that? Brook looks down. A shadow well. Remnants of Moria's early experiments. Most were destroyed, but some were buried half alive, half forgotten. They draw in memories, painful ones. You stare into the water and see a face. Yours, but older, angrier. Your eyes are hollow, your shadow is long and snarling. You flinch back. The vision vanishes. What was that, you ask, heart racing? A possibility, Brook says, voice solemn, not a certainty. Not yet. Luffy's already moving ahead, leaping over broken logs, chasing the scent of meat or trouble, you're never sure which. Usopp mutters nervously behind him. You trail close to Brook. I don't want to become something I'm not. Brook stops. Looks at you with those empty sockets. Then don't. You blink. It's that simple, you ask. It never is, he replies, but the choice is always yours. You walk in silence for a while. Then the earth trembles again. A muffled boom ripples beneath your feet. Usopp freezes. Did anyone else feel that? You nod. Luffy tilts his head like he's listening to something you can't hear. Something big, he says, up ahead. The path narrows, then opens into a half-collapsed amphitheater. Crumbled stone seating curves around a cracked, stage-like platform. Dust coats everything. Chains dangle from rusted beams above. Broken bones litter the corners. But in the center of the stage stands a single zombie, massive, 12 feet tall, broad-chested, torn clothes, hollow eyes. Its mouth twitches, then opens in a voice that is not its own speaks. You're not supposed to be here. You freeze. It's not the zombie talking. It's Moria. The voice echoes from deep inside the creature, unnatural and resonant. You touch my fruit? The zombie lurches forward. Usopp screams, Nope, nope, nope! Luffy grins. Time to fight. But before Luffy can charge, the zombie disappears. One moment it's shambling forward, the next, it's just gone. Your blood chills. No, not gone. Inside your shadow. You scream as the shadow beneath your feet writhes, growing suddenly massive, monstrous. It jerks up like a marionette string, yanked violently, forming a silhouette not your own. And then you're face to face with it. A shadow creature shaped like you, but huge-fanged, twisted. The zombie is using your shadow like a skin. Usopp fires wildly, the shots pass through. Brook tries to slash it, his blade hits, but doesn't bite. Luffy lunges, but the thing dodges you like it already knows every move. Because it is you. You're frozen, heart-pounding. The thing turns to you and mimics your stance. Brook shouts, Command it. I don't know how. Then feel. You close your eyes. Your heartbeat echoes, the memory of the fountain, the pedestal, the shadow well. You think of Luffy pulling you up from the floor. Of Brook's words. Language without words. You breathe in slow and steady. You're mine, you whisper not aloud but inside. The shadow creature jerks. You are part of me, not Moria, not the past. The shadow stumbles, then kneels, and slowly dissolves back into your feet. You fall to your knees, gasping. Brook helps you up. You resisted possession. That's rare. Usopp exhales. You're freaky. I mean that as a compliment. Luffy claps your back. Told you shadow powers are fun. You look at your hands. They're trembling again, but not from fear, from potential. The amphitheater is still again, not quiet still. The kind of stillness that comes after a storm, after something inside you has broken or changed. You sit on the cracked edge of the stone stage trying to catch your breath. Your shadow lies flat again, normal at a glance, but you can feel it beneath the surface, alive in ways shadows were never meant to be. Is this what devil fruit users feel like all the time? You ask aloud, not expecting an answer. Not quite, Brook replies, adjusting his cravat. Most devil fruits come with a clear rulebook. Yours seems to be rewriting itself. You look up at him. You said something earlier, that it's not exactly the Kage no mi right. He nods. That fruit is still whole and in Moria's possession. What you've absorbed seems to be a residual echo, a fragment of its essence. Possibly a failed experiment or a cast-off during some sick modification. But it bonded to you. That means it's yours now, not his. Then why can he still control it? That thing used my shadow like a suit. Brook's tone is grim. Because your connection to it is incomplete. He's had years to master its echoes. You've had days. You look down at your hands again. Then I need to catch up. Luffy stands nearby, arms crossed. He's been watching you, not with concern, but focus. You'll get stronger, he says. Just don't stop moving forward. You nod, grateful for his simplicity. That kind of clarity is rare. The crew regroups at the edge of the forest clearing. Nami, Zoro, Robin, Sanji, and Chopper emerge from different paths, all looking winded and watchful. Even Frankie has a serious expression which is saying something. What happened, Nami asks, eyeing the cracked earth and broken stone. Training accident, Usopp says quickly. Everyone stares. Sort of, you admit. Moria used a zombie to hijack my shadow. I managed to take control back. Robin's brows lift slightly. You've bonded with shadow matter already. I'm still learning, you say. But yeah. Zoro steps forward and studies you for a long moment. Then he nods once. Then you'd better train before it eats you alive. Not helping, Chopper whispers. I'm serious, Zoro continues. Power like that doesn't wait for you to be ready. It moves on its own. If you don't control it, it'll control you. You nod. So teach me. Zoro raises an eyebrow. Me. You've trained with hockey. You know how to push limits. Even if it's not the same power, I need that kind of discipline. Robin smirks. Not often someone volunteers for Zoro's training. I admire your optimism, Sanji says. It'll last at least 5 minutes. Zoro scratches the back of his head. then gestures toward the tree line. Fine, let's see what you've got. He leads you away from the others toward a quiet glade where the fog thins and the air feels heavier. Rule 1, he says, unsheathing a practice blade. Don't rely on the power yet. Rely on you. If you can't fight without it, you're already dead. You square off. For the next hour, he puts you through hell. Basic footwork. Avoidance drills. Precision movement. You're out of breath in 10 minutes. Sweating by 15. On your back after 20. Zoro doesn't let up. When you get up, he knocks you back down again. When you dodge, he moves faster. When you strike, he redirects, never allowing contact. But gradually you notice something. Your shadow starts reacting on instinct. It flickers out to soften your falls. Curves behind your heels, as if learning your stance. At one point, when you swing with everything you've got, it lashes out like a whip, an unformed tendril that cracks against Zoro's shin. He pauses, then grins. Now that's more like it. You gasp for air. Was that me? Zoro nods. You're sinking. He walks away satisfied, leaving you panting in the dirt. Same time tomorrow. You collapse backward. The sky above is gray and endless, but you swear you see it spinning. Later, as night settles over Thriller Bark again, the sunny becomes a haven of light. Lanterns glow. Food smells drift from the kitchen. Laughter echoes from the galley, Luffy and Usopp retelling stories. Chopper squealing at Sanji's food brook, playing something eerily beautiful. You sit alone on the upper deck watching the fog roll in again. Your shadow stretches long beside you, calm now. You try again. Move. A finger-length tendril lifts, wavers, then falls. You try a different thought. Form. A blade-shaped spike juts from your shadow's edge, brief solid, before melting back into the deck. You grin. Small steps. You close your eyes, feeling the rhythm of the sea, the energy of the ship under your feet, the warmth of your new crew in the rooms below. You're not a master of anything yet, but you're not powerless anymore. You awaken to a new sound. Not laughter, not footsteps, not the creaking lullaby of the thousand sunny riding the ocean swells. You wake to chanting. Low, distant, repeating in waves like the tide. You sit up, blanket falling from your shoulders. The sun hasn't risen yet. The world outside the porthole is deep blue, foggy cold. The shadows in your room stretch longer than they should. You rise quietly, heart thudding, and make your way above deck. The rest of the ship sleeps save for one figure leaning at the bow. Brook, unmoving bony hands clasped behind his back. You step beside him. What is that sound? He doesn't look at you, but his tone is somber. A ritual. One Moria's minions perform at dawn. Every few days they gather the stolen shadows and prepare them for sealing. You stare out into the mist. The chanting grows louder, carried by wind that tastes like ash. How do you know? Brook lowers his head slightly. Because I've heard it from the inside. You don't ask for more. Not yet. You turn to go, but he speaks again. There's something I want to show you. You follow him down the gangplank off the Sunny and back into Thriller Bark's foggy maze. He moves silently, gliding over stones and roots. You struggle to keep up. You recognize some of the twists and turns the broken path the shadow well, but he leads you deeper than you've gone before. Eventually you arrive at a clearing with a stone slab at its center. A grave, unmarked. Brook kneels beside it, gently brushing away leaves and dust. This is where they buried the first shadow that Moria couldn't control. You blink, what do you mean? Brook rises slowly. Long ago, before I ever met Luffy, Moria tried to bend every shadow to his will. But one resisted. A soul too stubborn, too broken to twist. The body it came from had died, but the shadow clung to life. It refused him so violently that it tore itself apart rather than obey. You feel the hairs on your neck rise. And this is where they buried it. No, they buried the memory of it. You step closer to the grave. Your shadow lengthens over it, and something happens. A pull. Not painful, more like recognition. Your breath catches. The ground beneath your feet shifts. Not physically, but within your perception. You feel a moment from long ago, a battlefield. Swords, screams. A man falling, his shadow peeling away, screaming as it's dragged into blackness. Then silence. Then you stumble back. Brook steadies you with one skeletal hand. What did you see, he asks. You shake your head. I think it remembers. Brook nods once. Your connection is deepening. You look down at your shadow now, flickering slightly as if recalling its own ancestor. Brook straightens. If you wish to survive, you must stop seeing this ability as a tool. It's not a sword or a gun. It's not something you hold, it's something you become. You stare at him. I don't know if I'm ready for that. You won't be, he replies, until you choose to be. He turns and begins walking away. You follow silent. The chanting has faded, but you feel its echo, a deep hum that rattles in your ribs. Later aboard the Sunny, you return to the upper deck. Morning has come, but the fog still lingers. You find Nami, Robin, and Chopper poring over maps and notes. We found something, Nami says without looking up. A pattern in the island's layout. Robin nods. Everything Moria built here radiates out from one central point, the church-like structure we saw on the map. That's where the ritual happens, the place where he seals shadows. Chopper chimes in, and it's also where he keeps the Shadow Vault. You blink. What's that? A chamber, Robin explains, where the shadows he's deemed too dangerous are stored. Some are fragmented. Some are still alive in ways we don't understand. Your stomach turns. You suddenly understand what the chanting was for. A feeding ritual. Why would he store them, you ask? Chopper hesitates. Maybe he's studying them. Maybe he's building something. You don't say the words out loud, but you think them. Maybe he's preparing a weapon, and I might be part of it. Zoro steps onto the deck, arms crossed. If there's a vault, we need to hit it before the final battle. Nami nods. Agreed. The more shadows he controls, the harder our fight gets. Luffy appears behind her, chewing on something unidentifiable. Let's go. Nami glares. We haven't even finished. We'll finish it on the way. He walks up to you, smiling. You ready? You hesitate. But then you remember the echo under your feet. The way your shadow stood up for you. The way Luffy always steps forward without blinking. Yeah, you say. I'm ready. Zoro grins. Then we move at nightfall. Robin closes the map. Brook draws his sword. You step away from the others for a moment, staring down at your shadow. It moves on its own again, just slightly. Just enough. You smile. Tonight you'll meet the vault, and maybe us meet what Moria fears most. Night falls like a curtain. The mist around Thriller Bark grows thicker, clinging to your skin like a cold film. Lanterns flicker aboard the Sunny, casting faint golden halos, but you and the others move silently under their glow. The time for jokes has passed. Even Luffy's usual grinning ease has sharpened into focus. This isn't just another adventure anymore. You're heading straight for the Vault of Stolen Shadows. Frankie tightens the bolts on his mechanical arms, nodding once. I'll stay with the ship. If anything comes crawling out of the fog, I'll blast it into next week. Brook taps his cane sword against the deck as he hums a low, tense melody. It's deep below the cathedral. Moria built the vault in the oldest foundation of this island, a crypt before Thriller Bark was even his. Great Usopp mutters, loading extra ammo into his bag. Underground ghost maze, my favorite. Sanji lights a cigarette and exhales smoke toward the mist. Just don't wander off. I wasn't planning to. Usopp starts, then pauses. Wait, that wasn't directed at me, was it? You join the forward team, Zoro, Robin, Brook, and Luffy with you as the Silent Fifth. Nami, Chopper, and Sanji will secure the perimeter above, coordinating with Denden Mushi in case the island shifts beneath you again. Robin hands you a rough map. This was etched into a hidden wall near the mansion. It shows a spiral descent like a nautilus shell. The vault should be at the center. And what do we do when we get there, you ask? Luffy answers before she can. We break it. Simple. Brutal. Effective. The trek to the cathedral is slow. The ruined stone roads seem to rearrange themselves if you don't keep moving. Statues twist when you're not looking. The fog pulses like breath. You could swear you hear whispers, but no one speaks. Finally, the building emerges from the gloom. It's massive. Gothic. Black stone laced with vines and moss-stained glass windows shattered long ago. The double doors creak open with a groan that sounds too much like a scream. You step inside. Dust, cold, an overwhelming sense of depth. Robin studies the walls. The architecture is pre-Moria. This place was a chapel long before he turned it into a vault. A spiral staircase yawns downward behind the altar, half hidden beneath a collapsed section of floor. The descent is narrow, claustrophobic. The only sound is the shuffle of boots and the distant drip of water echoing through stone. As you descend, the pressure builds, like walking into the belly of something ancient. After what feels like forever, you reach the bottom. A single corridor stretches ahead, lit by flickering blue flames and sconces along the wall. The air is wrong down here, heavier, metallic. Your shadow twitches restlessly underfoot. Zoro unsheathes his swords. Brook stiffens. It's here. Robin steps lightly, brushing the wall with her fingertips. You follow close behind your pulse, loud in your ears. The corridor ends at a round, domed chamber. Carved stone coffins line the walls, each one sealed with a heavy iron plate. Between them float dozens of translucent globes, each glowing faintly. Each one holds a shadow. They writhe slowly, some whisper, some thrash, silently beating against the glass like insects in a jar. Then you see it. In the center of the chamber is a pedestal, and atop it, hovering in midair, is a swirling mass of condensed darkness. You know it the moment you see it. A shadow core. Robin gasps. That's not just a fragment. That's a living concentration of the devil fruit's essence. You step forward, drawn to it. But before you can get close, the air shatters. A pulse erupts from the pedestal, knocking you all backward. From the shadows, a voice oozes into the room. So, the little thief arrives at last. Moria's voice. But not in person. His will projected through the shadow core. The room begins to distort. The flames dim. The globes of imprisoned shadows flicker erratically. One burst, releasing a tormented scream before fading to smoke. You stumble to your feet. Zoro and Luffy are already standing, blades and fists ready. The voice continues. You don't know what you've done, boy. That echo you carry, it belongs to me. No, you say stepping forward, it chose me. It remembers my power. But it's feeding on my will now. You clench your fists. You can't take it back. Silence. Then the shadows explode outward. The shadow globes burst one by one, releasing dark forms into the chamber. Half specters, part memory, part rage figures with no faces and blades, made of nothing but malice. Dozens of them. Zoro doesn't wait. Robin, keep him alive. He charges in. Brook's blade flashes. Yo ho ho ho, allow me to join. Robin steps behind you, hands blooming like petals as her arms sprout from the ground, and walls snatching, grappling, shielding. You're shaking, but you force your focus. One shadow rushes you. You dodge left too slow. Its claw grazes your cheek. Then your shadow reacts. A sharp crack echoes your own shadow, lashes out, slicing upward like a blade. The creature shudders, then evaporates. You blink. And smile. All right, you whisper. Let's see what I can do. You let your instincts guide you. Shadow tendrils lash out at incoming enemies. You duck and spin, using the weightless slide of your own darkness to enhance your movement. You pull energy into your hands, shaping it into short-lived claws slashing into the nearest specter. It vanishes in a shriek. More shadows close in. And then you feel it, one of the echo shadows rushing toward Luffy's back. Without thinking, you shove your arms forward and your own shadow rockets across the floor, wrapping around Luffy like a shield. The impact hits, but the shadow holds. Luffy looks back at you and grins. Nice. The battle rages for minutes or maybe hours. And then silence. The last shadow vanishes into mist. The core at the center flickers, pulsing. You step forward again, your body aching shadow flickering beside you like a partner. You reach toward the core. Moria's voice snarls one last time. You'll regret this. And then it goes quiet. The core folds inward and vanishes into your chest like mist into your lungs. For a moment, you can't breathe. Your heart pounds. And then you stand taller. Your connection deepens. The vault is broken. And something new is waking up inside you. The silence in the vault is absolute, not empty, expectant. Your chest still thrums where the shadow core vanished into you. It doesn't feel like a wound, but like a second heartbeat has fused to your own, steady and slow, echoing in rhythms older than language. You stagger slightly, catching yourself against the pedestal. The stone is slick with condensation or maybe sweat. Luffy walks up beside you, eyes wide, jaw slightly slack. That was awesome, he says, breaking the silence like a dropped anchor. You sucked it in, right into your chest. You manage a weak laugh, still catching your breath. I didn't try to do that. Zoro sheathes his swords. But you did do it. Robin approaches slowly, her gaze not on your face, but your shadow. It's larger now, deeper. When you move, it takes a fraction of a second too long to follow, like it's processing on its own terms. You're changing, she says, faster than before. Brook eye sockets fixed on you nods. The shadow core was not meant to be possessed by anyone but Moria. The fact that you absorbed it without breaking apart suggests your will is stronger than his. You rub your chest, the cold echo of the core still humming through you. I feel like I'm standing on the edge of something, like there's a cliff just ahead and I'm about to fall. No, Zoro says. You're about to jump. The team regroups quickly. Robin takes a few etched rubbings from the wall cryptic carvings describing ancient uses of shadow in pre-Moria civilizations. You're not sure if they're warnings, instructions, or something else. Usopp would have run screaming, but Robin seems at home deciphering curses. Before you leave, you glance one last time at the empty pedestal. You think you hear something. A whisper. Or perhaps applause. Above ground, the fog is beginning to lift. The others are waiting when you return. Sanji tapping his foot against a stone chopper. Bouncing nervously, Nami scanning the horizon with a narrowed gaze. You took longer than planned, she says. Luffy scratches the back of his head. Had to break something. You always do. Nami's concern shifts to you now. You all right? You pause, then nod. More or less. Chopper rushes forward and immediately begins a physical check, holding your wrist, inspecting your pupils. Your heart rate is elevated. Shadow harmonics off balance. And your temperatures wait. How are you even measurably colder? I don't know, you say. It's like my body isn't fully in one place anymore. Robin answers for you. You're stabilizing into a half-spectral state. Not undead. Not entirely human either. Somewhere in between. And your shadow's growing more autonomous. Sanji eyes you. Is that a good thing or a kill it before it mutates thing? Chopper frowns. Not sure yet. Guess we'll find out. Zoro leans against a tree, arms folded. Now the real question is, what does Moria do next? Brook's voice lowers. He'll know. He always knows. A beat of silence follows. Luffy breaks it. Then we go to him. Sanji turns. You mean just walk right up to Moria and start punching? Luffy nods. Yup. Nami sighs. Of course. Robin gently closes her journal. We should hit him before he regathers his strength. His main forces have already been disrupted. His vault is broken. His rhythm is off. You notice her glance at you. You are part of that disruption now. Chopper packs up his medical kit. I can't guarantee he won't have more of those shadow monsters. Let them come, Zoro says, brushing dust from his shoulder. The crew begins to move, preparing for a final assault. But before you go, Luffy pulls you aside. You follow him out to the cliff edge where the island drops sharply into black water. The moon reflects in the waves like a shard of silver glass. Your shadows stretch long beside you, his neat and steady yours flickering at the edges like candle flame. Luffy doesn't look at you but speaks with an unexpected quiet. You're strong, he says, but you're scared. You don't answer. He glances at you. That's okay. I was scared too once. You blink. When? Back in Logtown, right before I almost died. I smiled, yeah, but I felt it. Cold. Empty. Like maybe my dream would end right there. You study him. The ever-optimistic captain. The unbreakable force of nature. You never show it, you say. I don't need to. Because I keep going anyway. He turns to face you fully now. I don't know what you're going to become, he says. But I know you've got something inside you that wants to move forward. That matters more than anything else. You stare at him, and in his expression for the first time, you see not just a captain, but someone who believes in you. Not because he has to, but because he chooses to. You nod once. I'm ready. Luffy grins. Good. Let's go steal our shadows back. As you walk back toward the crew, your shadow pulses once. Stronger! As if hearing the decision in your bones. Tonight, the final storm begins. The mist recoils as you walk. It's subtle like a breath inhaling the moment before a scream. The island feels quieter than ever, not peaceful, but tense. As though even the stone is holding its breath. The shattered statues, the crooked crosses, the empty crypts. They're no longer just remnants. They're witnesses, and they know what's coming. The Straw Hats move as a unit, quiet but electric with resolve. Zoro leads the charged twin blades strapped across his waist, senses sharpened. Robin and Nami walk in step behind him. Robin's eyes scanning ruins for signs of traps, while Nami clutches a compact Den Mushi, its sleepy eyes blinking every few seconds. Sanji and Usopp cover the rear, both alert but visibly bracing for the unknown. Luffy walks at the center, calm and steady. You once again are at his side, but this time you walk differently. The weight of the Shadow Core simmers inside you, neither cold nor hot, but ever present. Your steps feel heavier, your heart beats slower. The world seems sharper at the edges, and your shadow doesn't trail you anymore. It walks with you. It doesn't have a mind of its own, but it feels more and more like it shares yours. The path winds upward toward a towering structure at the island's highest point. A castle forged from wreckage and bone where Gothic spires twist into the fog like fingers clawing at the sky. Moria's stronghold. Brook slows beside you. This is where it ends, he says, or begins, you answer. He nods. At the gate, a sudden sound of metal clang sharp and final. Sanji draws back his leg. One good kick should. But the doors groan open on their own. You exchange a glance with the others. Invitation accepted, Robin murmurs. The throne room is just as theatrical as you imagined. Tall, dark pillars line the chamber like giant ribs. Crimson carpets stretch like dried blood down the center aisle. Iron chandeliers sway slowly overhead, casting flickering shadows across the floor. At the far end of the hall, beneath a towering stained glass window of a grinning skull, sits Moria himself, or rather a version of him. Too still, too silent. Luffy steps forward without hesitation. Moria. The figure on the throne jerks its head upright. But it's not Moria. It's a decoy and empty puppet of shadows sewn together with flesh and smoke. And behind you, clapping, you spin. Moria stands in the rafters above, grinning wide, his enormous frame silhouetted against the full moon, streaming through a cracked skylight. Impressive, he booms. You've done well, much better than I expected from a stray shadowling. You feel the pressure of his presence immediately. It's not just his size, it's the gravity of him. His aura presses in like a rising tide. You feel your shadow instinctively pull away from him. Not in fear, but in recognition. Why you shout? Why store all those shadows? What are you trying to create? He chuckles. A kingdom, of course. One made not of flesh and weakness, but of memories. Shadows carry power, experiences, emotions. Everything that makes a soul. Combine enough and you create something eternal. Something untouchable by time. Luffy glares. You're not making a kingdom, you're stealing lives. Moria's grin stretches impossibly wide. I gave them purpose. No, you say, you fed on them. And now you want to feed on me. Moria drops down from the rafters landing with a ground-shaking thud. Because you're special, aren't you? The core chose you. Even I couldn't absorb it without tearing my soul to pieces. But you fused with it. He leans forward, eyes narrowing. I want to know why. I want to break you open and find out. Zoro steps forward, blades already drawn. Try. Moria raises a hand and the shadows on the ground ripple. Suddenly, from every corner of the hall, creatures begin to crawl. They're not zombies, not quite. They're shadowborn horrors. Fragments of stolen souls given half-form shaped by hatred, by regret, by fear. Misshapen, silent writhing in the flickering torchlight. Usopp gulps. You've got to be kidding me. Luffy slams his fists together. We'll take them. Moria laughs. No, you'll fight them while he fights me. He points to you, and your shadow erupts. It stretches outward involuntarily, like it's being called, like it has to answer. You stagger, then stop, and push back. With a shout, you seize the tendrils trying to rise from your feet and drag them inward again. The entire throne room ripples. Moria's grin vanishes for a split second. Then he charges. He's fast for his size. Too fast. He sweeps his massive arm forward, summoning a tidal wave of shadows across the floor. The others leap into action, intercepting the creatures rushing from the corners. Zoro's blades blur. Sanji whirls and flaming kicks. Robin's arms erupt from walls and ceiling to slam enemies aside. But your focus is singular. Moria's shadow wave slams towards you, and you meet it. Your own shadow surges upward, forming a spiraling shield that catches the flood, folding it around you like a cocoon. The impact knocks you backward, but you hold. Through the veil of darkness, you hear Moria's voice low and furious. You think you can control what I created? You lower your head arms, shaking. No, you whisper, but I can make it mine. You step through your shield and launch your shadow outward like a blade. Moria dodges barely. The edge of your attack slices into the throne behind him. It splits in half silently. You pant sweat beating at your temple. Your shadow slithers back beneath your feet, waiting. Moria's grin returns, but now it's tighter, less certain. This will be fun. You roll your shoulders. Let's find out. Moria lunges again, his laughter twisting through the throne room like a jagged knife. Cage Geary! A blade of shadow slices across the stone floor, trailing raw energy. You leap sideways, narrowly dodging the crackling sweep, as it splits a pillar behind you in two. Stone explodes into dust. Your heart hammers. He's faster than he looks, stronger too. Each of his attacks isn't just physical. They dig into the fabric of your shadow, pulling like he's trying to unzip you from the inside out. You spin, throwing a hand forward. Back off. Your shadow launches from your feet, flattening across the ground and spiking upward into a wall of jagged tendrils. Moria doesn't hesitate. His own shadow rises and consumes yours, swallowing it like black fire. Your connection to it screams. You stumble back, gasping. Still learning, are we? Moria sneers, striding forward. You don't command shadows, boy. You trick them. Bind them. Or they betray you. Behind him, chaos erupts. Luffy's rubber fists smash through two of the shadowborn horrors, launching them across the chamber. Robin's arms bloom across the ceiling, gripping a writhing mass and slamming it into the wall. Zoro moves like a hurricane blades, drawing arcs of gleaming steel. Usopp and Chopper hold the rear, sniping and shielding, while Sanji pirouettes through a blaze of fire and smoke. But you're on your own with Moria. Let's see how much of my fruit really lives in you, he growls. His shadow reaches for you again, slick, snake-like, oily as a nightmare. You try to pull back your own, but it's sluggish, dazed. You reach for it with your mind. Heart will respond to me. A weak ripple, not enough. Moria cackles. You absorbed it, but you never claimed it. And then he strikes. Not with shadow this time. With memory. You feel a rush of images, not yours, hers. A girl. Tears. The cold stone floor. A scream that's muffled by her own shadow swallowing her face. You stagger. Your knees hit the ground, your hands go to your skull. Who is she? Why is she inside you? Moria's laugh echoes from every angle. I see it now. The core bonded to a fragment one I threw away. A rebel. A soul that refused to bow. The girl's voice flickers through you, a whisper against your ears. Don't let him take me again. You choke on a breath. Who are you? No answer. But the emotion remains. Fear, rage, helpless defiance. Your hands tighten into fists. You look up, breath ragged. She's part of me now, and you don't get her back. Moria snarls. She's mine. And with a roar, he summons a tidal wave of black, an avalanche of shadows crashing toward you like the ocean's fury made flesh. No time. You plant your feet. Close your eyes. She's afraid, so was I, but no more. You dive inward. The core. You find it not in your mind, but beneath it in the quiet place behind the pulse of your thoughts. It flickers like a heartbeat carved from eclipse. Claim it. You reach out. Not as Moria did, not with chains. You reach with your name, with choice. And the core answers. The darkness inside you floods outward, not violently, but elegantly. Your shadow flattens beneath your feet, then rises like ink spun by wind. It coils behind you, forming wings, no, not wings. Blades. Curved arcs of darkness that float inches above your shoulders. Moria's wave strikes, and your shadow cuts through it. The clash sends ripples across the chamber. Even the Straw Hats pause mid-fight to glance over. You rise slowly. Your feet don't quite touch the ground anymore. Your eyes burn not with light, but with clarity. Your voice is quieter now. I'm not your experiment, Moria snarls, taking a step back. I'm not your failure. Your shadow flows outward, tendrils slicing along the floor like elegant dancers. I'm not your creation. The final line leaves your lips like a vow. I'm me. You launch forward. Your shadow flows with you, no longer a weight, but an extension. You slash through Moria's next attack with ease, your blades parrying his own with symmetrical grace. You don't just counter, you anticipate. For the first time, Moria retreats. He growls, face-twisted. You've taken my power, my domain. Wrong, you interrupt. I've freed it. You drive your palm toward him, your shadow mimicking the motion. A blade of darkness pierces his side. He howls, staggering backward. Then in a last desperate move, he throws both arms wide. The chamber cracks. All remaining shadows, his horrors, the globes, the writhing minions collapse inward. He draws them all into himself, his body growing grotesquely large, swollen with thousands of stolen souls. A monstrous silhouette looms 20 feet tall, all fangs and claws and stitched flesh. A titan of shadowborn pain. Luffy calls to you, you ready? You glance at him, your body humming with new power. And for the first time, you answer without hesitation. Let's finish this. Together you charge. The throne room explodes into chaos. Moria's new form towers above you, all grotesque and patchworked like a nightmare stitched together from 1,000 lost souls. Limbs swell unnaturally. His back arches with weight he shouldn't be able to carry, bones grinding audibly with every motion. His eyes burn with violet fire, and his voice is no longer one, it's many-layered and whispering over each other in agony. I am the shadow of all who failed. The floor cracks under his weight as he lunges forward. Luffy goes first. Gomu gomu no jet pistol, eh? He slams a punch into Moria's chest, sending a shockwave through the beast, but Moria doesn't budge. His bloated form absorbs the hit like a sponge before flexing, releasing a burst of shadows that sends Luffy flying back into a cracked pillar. You rush toward him, your body lighter now, shadow trailing like a cape behind you. You don't think. You react. Luffy, he grins at you, dazed but breathing. I'm good. Just winded. Robin's hands burst from the walls, wrapping around one of Moria's limbs, trying to slow him down. Clutch! The arm strains, bones cracking. And then Moria tears through it, screaming in multiple voices, his shadows unraveling Robin's grip like cobwebs. Zoro appears at his flank blade, slicing in a perfect cross. Santoryu Ogisanzen Sekai. The strikes hit clean, but again the impact is absorbed. Moria's body bends like rubber shadows, dispersing the kinetic force before it can dig deep. The monster's new body isn't just massive, it's strategically inhuman. Sanji lands a flaming kick on the other side, Konkasei, blasting a chunk of the beast's shoulder into scorched mist. But again, he regenerates. He's eating shadows faster than we can hurt him, Usopp yells from behind a crumbling column, firing a cluster of explosive shots. You feel it too. Each time someone hits him, the impact ripples and is swallowed. The more you fight him, the more he grows. He's a living black hole of pain. He's feeding off despair, you shout. He wants us to hit him. Brook, now panting in the corner after slicing through a dozen Shadowborn minions, looks up sharply. Then we must take away what he feeds on. You realize what he means? Moria isn't just absorbing physical shadows anymore. He's feeding off the emotional imprints of everyone here. You step forward. This is your fight now. The shadow core inside you pulses, vibrating with something you didn't notice before. Not power. Not control. But understanding. The girl's voice, the one whose fragments you carry, whispers again. He can't hold us if we let go. You stare at Moria's massive form as he bellows, charging a wave of condensed shadow, like a cannon at his chest. It glows dark purple, humming with contained agony. He fires. The beam rushes toward the crew, toward your friends, and you leap in front of it. You don't block it with a shield. You absorb it. The impact is seismic. You drop to one knee, arms shaking, the raw darkness lashing through your body like electricity. Your eyes blur. You feel every soul inside that beam. Their regrets, their pain, their final moments. And you don't flinch. You accept them. One by one you say their names, not aloud but within. And your shadow answers. It grows not with size but with weight, with meaning. Tendrils rise behind you, no longer wild and frenzied but poised, elegant, controlled. You rise slowly, a black mist radiating from your back. Your shadow now reflects not only your shape, but the shapes of those within it. Dozens of silhouettes shimmer behind you like a sea of ghosts. You've become a mirror, a reflection of every soul Moria tried to consume. Your voice cuts through the echoing chamber. You don't own them. Moria roars, slamming both fists down. The ground cracks, walls shatter. You raise your hands. The shadows behind you converge. A single strike forms one blade, forged from dozens of regret streams and final stands. You grip it, the weight of it anchoring you to every lost life in this place. Moria lunges. You run to meet him. Time slows. The room narrows, and with one breath you whisper to every voice inside you. Let's go home. You plunge the blade into Moria's chest. It doesn't pierce flesh. It pierces shadow. There's no explosion, no blood, just release. A howl erupts from Moria, not of pain but emptiness. The shadows begin to unravel from his body like smoke leaving a fire. The swollen limbs deflate. The monstrous mass evaporates. One by one, the stolen echoes drift away, whispering, flickering free. Moria collapses to his knees, a broken man again. You stand before him, breath, ragged shadow still trembling. The Straw Hats gather behind you. Luffy steps forward, frowning. He done. You nod, he's finished. Luffy sighs and stretches his arms above his head. Cool, I'm hungry. Zoro chuckles, of course. The rest of the crew exhales some laugh. Others slump to the floor. Moria, weak now, looks up at you. What, are you? You stare down at him, your voice low. I'm not a shadow of anyone. You turn away. Behind you, the stolen souls rise like sparks, drifting toward the broken stained glass window above, rising into the night sky like fireflies. The throne room is silent once more, but this time it feels clean. The stained glass window shatters completely as the last of the liberated shadows drift into the night sky, leaving trails of pale light in their wake. What's left behind in the throne room isn't just silence, it's stillness, the kind that settles only when something truly ends. Moria collapses unconscious, or perhaps just hollow. The monstrous form he'd conjured has vanished, and what remains is a man too weak to cast even his own shadow. His breathing is ragged, his frame thinner. The power that once made him a warlord now trails away like dust in the wind. You step back from him, lightheaded. Your legs tremble and your hands won't stop shaking. Zoro is the first to step beside you. He doesn't speak, just places a steadying hand on your shoulder. You nod silently, grateful for the support. "It's over," Nami asks from across the room, stepping lightly over broken stone and shadow residue. You glance around. The monsters are gone, the castle isn't crumbling, but it feels lighter. Like the weight holding it down has been lifted. The oppressive energy is gone. Brook walks slowly to the center of the room. His eyes are fixed on the last place the souls disappeared. "I heard them," he whispers. "The voices. So many of them. They didn't cry. They didn't scream. They just sang." You turn toward him. "You think they're free now?" Brook nods. "I know they are." Usopp exhales loudly and slumps onto a nearby chunk of rubble. "Good. Great. Can we not go to any more haunted islands for at least a month?" I second that Chopper says, clearly exhausted but relieved. He's already checking Sanji's scorched arms for burns. Robin crouches near Moria's form, her gaze thoughtful. "What do we do with him?" Luffy doesn't even look back. "Leave him. He's not worth the time." You don't argue. There's nothing left to fight here. The war is over. But you're not the same person who walked into this island. Your body still thrums with residual energy. The shadow core inside you is no longer surging or threatening to take over. It's resting, content, settled. And your own shadow now feels like a companion instead of a stranger. You walk away from Moria toward the broken window where the wind whistles through, gentle and cool. The moonlight bathes you. Your shadow stretches long across the stones. It moves slightly on its own, only a little. But this time it's not pulling away from you. It's walking with you. Luffy comes up beside you, hands behind his head, grinning like nothing ever happened. "You did good." You laugh weakly. "I thought I was going to lose it." He shrugs. "We all do sometimes, but you didn't." There's something comforting in how simply he sees it. In how he always moves forward without lingering. He claps your back once. "Come on, let's go home." You follow the crew as they exit the ruins of Moria's lair. The castle's winding paths are no longer distorted. The way is clear now. It feels like the island itself has released its breath. The fog is breaking. Outside, the Thousand Sunny waits at the dock sails, already prepped at the lion figurehead, smiling in the early morning breeze. Frankie lets out a cheer when he sees you. "Wow! I felt the shadow quake from all the way over here." "You guys super flattened him, huh?" "We flattened everything." Usopp groans, dragging his feet up the ramp. "I brought celebratory cola," Frankie says, hoisting an enormous barrel. "I brought wine," Robin adds, smiling. "And I brought the meat," Sanji yells from the kitchen window. No one's sleeping until we eat. Nami drops into a deck chair, sighing in relief. Finally. A night where I don't wake up to ghost laughter. You pause at the top of the ramp, looking back. The rising sun pierces the sky at last, golden and clean, burning away the last veil of fog. Thriller Bark stands quiet in the morning light. You close your eyes. Inside you, the girl's voice is gone. Not vanished, just silent. At peace. And for the first time since arriving in this world, so are you. Luffy calls from the helm. "Set the log pose, we're heading out." The ship shifts, the sails rise, and you feel the breeze hit your face, fresh, real clean. You're a part of this crew now. Not because you have a devil fruit power, not because you saved the day, but because you chose to stay, and because they chose you. The Sunny glides away from Thriller Bark toward a new horizon. But behind you, just before the island disappears from view, you see one last flicker. A single shadow on the shore waving. Then it's gone, and your story continues. The Grand Line greets you again like a familiar old friend, wild, unpredictable, alive. Gone is the oppressive fog of Thriller Bark. Now the ocean stretches wide and blue, endless waves sparkling beneath a blazing sun. The wind fills the Thousand Sunny's sails and the deck hums with activity. It's not peace exactly, it never is out here, but it's something better freedom. You stand near the starboard rail, one hand resting on the warm wood, watching the horizon as seagulls cry overhead. The tension in your chest has loosened. You're still tired, your body still sore, but something inside you has changed. You survived, you chose, and the shadows didn't consume you. Now they walk with you. Footsteps approach from behind. Robin's voice is soft, thoughtful. "You're very quiet today." You nod, eyes on the sea. It feels like I'm seeing color for the first time again. She chuckles gently. Thriller bark has that effect. It's easy to forget the sun exists when you're deep in the belly of darkness. You glance at her. Did you ever feel like part of yourself was trying to pull away? Robin doesn't answer right away. She places her hands on the railing beside yours. All the time, she says finally. Before this crew, my whole life felt like borrowed light. You understand what she means. There's a quiet moment between you. Then she tilts her head slightly. Your shadow. It's different now. You nod. I think it knows me. She smiles. Then you're farther along than most. You watch as her form disappears back below deck like a ghost returning to the calm. You lean on the rail eyes, narrowing, and let your shadow stretch beside you. It flows smoothly now. No jerks, no spikes, no resistance. Just reflection. Behind you, laughter erupts. Come on, it's dinner time. Luffy's voice bellows from the galley. And I'm not starting without everyone. Sanji's voice follows more like a threat than an invitation. If you make me repeat myself, you'll be eating overboard. You step into the warm galley where the crew is already gathered around a table bursting with food. Roasted meat, fresh vegetables, thick bread, and mugs of chilled juice or wine clutter every corner. There's no ceremony, just appetite. Usopp gestures toward an empty chair. That one's yours. You slide into the seat, surprised to realize you were missed. Chopper is already chowing down crumbs coating his fur. Nami leans back with a glass of wine, smiling for once. Zoro sips quietly from a bottle. Brook hums as he eats, though the food falls straight through him. Everyone talks, everyone laughs. And you're a part of it now. Not an outsider. Not a temporary guest. Crew. Sanji places a plate in front of you, a perfect cut of meat, grilled and seasoned, flanked by roasted vegetables. Eat up, Shadow Boy. You've earned it. You blink. That's the first nickname you've given me that wasn't an insult. Don't get used to it, he mutters, lighting a cigarette. You dig in. For a moment, nothing exists but the flavor of real food and the warmth of shared survival. But eventually the conversation turns. Hey, Usopp says through a mouthful of rice. So now that Thriller barks behind us, what now? Chopper perks up. Yeah, what are you going to do now? You freeze with your fork halfway to your mouth. It's a simple question. Logical. But no one's asked it not really until now. What do you want? You push your plate away, slightly thinking. Thriller bark was about survival, protecting others, facing darkness both literal and within. But it was never about you, not until now. Now you have to decide. You glance at Luffy, who's tearing meat from a bone with childlike abandon. He notices your gaze and tilts his head. You thinking about staying? He asks plainly. Every eye turns to you. The galley is suddenly silent. You look down at your hands, still scarred, still trembling now and then, but stronger. I want to keep moving forward, you say slowly. I want to see more of this world, the islands, the people, the mysteries. You clench your fists, your shadow curling just beneath the table. And I want to keep getting stronger. I don't want to be a burden. I want to protect the people around me. A quiet beat. Then Luffy grins. Cool, you're with us. Usopp claps your back so hard you choke. Chopper leaps onto the table. We have a new permanent crewmate. Nami raises her glass. About time! Sanji mutters something about not needing another freeloader, but there's no bite in his tone. Brook strums a chord. A toast. Everyone raises their glasses or bowls or whatever they're holding. To shadows, Robin says. To new Nakama, Zoro adds. Luffy slams his mug onto the table. To the next adventure. You raise your glass with them, smiling as your shadow flickers at your feet, dancing in the candlelight. You don't know where the Grand Line will take you next. But you know this, you're not just surviving anymore. You're living. You wake with a start, not from a nightmare, but from silence. No wind, no waves, no creaking hull, just a stillness. The Thousand Sunny isn't moving. You sit up in your hammock, blinking into the faint pre-dawn light that filters through the small window. Something's off. You swing your legs over the side and touch down onto the wooden floor, cool, smooth, but strangely quiet. You pull on your boots and jacket and make your way up to the deck. Zoro's already there, leaning against the mast with his arms folded. His swords are sheathed, but his eyes are sharp. You feel that too, he asks without turning. You nod. Yeah, like the sea's watching. He grunts. Thought I was imagining it. You step to the rail. The ocean isn't calm, it's still. Completely. Like glass. The water stretches in every direction with no ripples, no waves, not even a breeze. The sails hang limp, the log pose needle spins erratically lost. And then the air shifts. A whisper. You turn around. Your shadow turns before you do. That's the moment you know something's wrong. It's not moving with you anymore, it's anticipating. Guys, you murmur, eyes narrowing. Something's near. Chopper bursts up from below deck, stumbling as he shifts into his reindeer form. Wake up. Wake up. Something's wrong with the sea. Usopp is behind him, goggles on his forehead. I saw something in the water like shapes. Giant ones. Brook skids out of the kitchen, violin slung across his back. Yo-ho-ho. I think we're surrounded by ghosts. Luffy's still chewing a biscuit. Ghosts again. That's boring. Sanji lights a cigarette, stepping onto the deck with narrowed eyes. No fog this time, no storm. This is different. Then you hear it again. Whispers. No words, just impressions. A hum, a longing. You look down and see dozens of shadows circling the Sunny just beneath the water's surface. They're not attached to anything. No bodies, no light source, just shadows swimming like fish. Your heart drops. I think we're over a shadow sea. Robin joins you quietly. There are legends, she says, of places where the veil between life and death thins, where memories become entities, where shadows never return to their bodies. She looks at you directly. Places like this are drawn to people like you. You swallow. You think this is because of me. I think she says you've become a beacon. Luffy grins. Cool. Not cool. Nami snaps, emerging with the log pose. We're not moving, and the compass is spinning like crazy. Frankie appears from below with a heavy wrench in hand. Engine's fine. Sea prism stone coating's intact. But the Sunny won't move. Because it's not about the ship, you say. It's about us. The shadows in the water begin rising. They crawl up the sides of the hull, melting like ink stretching toward your feet. Zoro's blade is out instantly. Permission to cut. No, Robin says quickly. Not yet. They're not attacking. They're asking. Everyone looks at her. Listen, she says. You close your eyes. The whispers align. A single thought forms, not words, not images, but feeling. You carry us, but you don't understand us. You shiver. What does that mean? Chopper whispers. You step forward, planting your feet firmly at the bow of the Sunny. You take a deep breath. Then you speak to them not with your mouth, but with your presence. I didn't choose you, you whisper in your mind. But I accept you. I know you're part of me now. But I need to know who you are. A pause. Then the shadows surge up. Not attacking. Embracing. They swirl around you, forming a sphere of darkness. The crew shouts, but can't reach you in time. You're lifted off the deck, floating consumed. And then, memory. Not your own. You see flashes. A battlefield. A man dragging himself through mud, his shadow staying behind even after he dies. A girl hiding under floorboards, her fear staining the walls black. Her shadow weeping while her face stays silent. A boy thrown overboard from a ship, his final thought not of fear, but of the stars. Each shadow is a story. Each one is someone. They've been with you since Thriller Bark, hiding, clinging, waiting for a moment to be seen. And now you understand. The Shadow Core didn't just give you power. It gave you people, memories, wills. You're not alone inside your body. You're carrying pieces of others. Lost ones, forgotten ones. And they don't want control. They want peace. You open your eyes. The shadows lower you gently back to the deck. Your crew surrounds you, tense weapons half raised. But you lift a hand. It's okay, you say quietly. They're not enemies. They're passengers. Robin tilts her head. Do you understand them now? I think I always did. I just wasn't listening. The sea ripples. The wind returns. The sails billow once more. The Sunny groans as if waking from a long nap, and begins moving forward again, cutting through the water with ease. Nami checks the log pose. We're back on course. Frankie grins. Now that's super weird. Zoro sheathes his sword with a huff. Sanji lights another cigarette. Every day on this ship gets stranger. Luffy wraps an arm around your shoulder, so you're like a haunted house now. That's awesome. You laugh truly this time. You feel different. Not heavier, but fuller. The whispers fade. Not into silence, but into harmony. And ahead the horizon waits. The wind carries you forward. After the storm of Thriller Bark and the stillness of the Shadow Sea, the rhythm of regular sailing feels surreal. Normal. Almost too quiet. You stand on the deck in the early dawn, watching clouds break apart into golden threads as the sun rises behind them. For the first time since this journey began, your shadow is completely calm. Not twitching. Not flinching. No echoes trying to whisper. Just still. You lean against the railing, the wood warm beneath your palms. The salt in the air reminds you this is real. Not a dream. Not an illusion. This is your world now. Footsteps approach behind you. Zoro. You're not training, he says without looking at you, arms folded. You smirk faintly. Didn't know you were keeping track. I keep track of the weak ones. They get people killed. His tone is blunt but not cruel. You nod, taking the point. I've been adjusting. Zoro grunts. Adjust faster. You've got something inside you that doesn't wait. You push off the rail, you offering to help. I'm offering to hit you. You follow him without argument. Behind the mast on the sunlit training deck, he tosses you a practice sword. You catch it. This time he says, drawing one of his blades, you fight without shadows. No tricks, no powers. You blink. Why? Because if you can't win without them, he says, stepping forward, then you'll never control them. He doesn't give you time to think. He lunges. Steel flashes. You barely block. The impact rattles your arms. Zoro doesn't let up. His strikes are controlled but fast, precise. He's not playing, not letting you breathe. He's testing everything. Your stance, your reflexes, your will. You roll to the side, strike back a clumsy swing. He deflects it easily and flicks your wrist. The sword goes flying. You hit the deck hard. Zoro stands over you. Get up. You growl and climb to your feet, grabbing the sword again. You try 3 more times. Each time he knocks you down. By the 5th time, your arms are shaking. Your knees feel like water. Sweat clings to your neck. You're panting, heart pounding, and Zoro hasn't even broken a sweat. I'm not winning, you gasp. You're not supposed to win, he replies, stepping back. You're supposed to learn. You raise your head. What am I learning then? Zoro stares at you. Pain. Patience. The shape of your own limits. He points to your shadow. You lean on that thing like a crutch. But if your body doesn't know how to move, no power in the world will save you. You sit in silence, sword across your knees. Then you feel it something beneath your skin. A slow rise, not of rage or shame. Of resolve. You rise again. Again you say. Zoro raises an eyebrow, then nods. Good. The 6th bar goes longer. You block 2 strikes. You even land one. Not enough to win, but enough to matter. You collapse afterward, grinning breathless. Zoro crouches beside you, handing you a flask. You drink. The water is warm and tastes like wood and salt. You'll never match me, he says casually. I know, but you don't need to. You nod. Make your own path, your own fighting style. I've been thinking about that, you say. Zoro waits. You flex your fingers, look at your shadow. It's not just about offense. It's not a sword or a whip. It's armor. It's motion. It responds to emotions. I don't want to fight like a swordsman. I want to fight like someone who listens. Zoro snorts. Sounds soft? Sounds me, you reply. He smirks, then make it stronger. He rises and walks off. You stay there watching the clouds drift. You feel the shadow beneath you twitch slightly like it agrees. Later that night, you lie awake in your hammock. The others sleep around you, Luffy snoring in the corner. Usopp mumbling about monsters in his dreams. Chopper curled up under his blanket. You stare at the ceiling. And then, a sound. Not a voice, a hum. A presence. You sit up slowly. At the edge of your hammock, your shadow begins to rise. But not into a weapon. Into a figure. For a moment it takes shape, a vague outline slender, and still like a reflection half-formed. Then, a face. The girl's. The fragment inside the core. You freeze. She doesn't speak. She just looks at you sad but at peace. Then she bows her head and dissolves into mist back into your shadow. You're left breathless. You whisper to the dark, I won't forget you. Your shadow shifts slightly in response. Not unsettling. Just acknowledging. You lie back down. And this time you sleep easily. Because now, you know, you're never truly alone. The grand line changes again. You've learned by now not to expect consistency out here. One day it's a still sea with a sky so clear you can see every constellation. The next, a mountain of waves trying to swallow the sunny whole. But this is different. The weather doesn't shift so much as twist. It begins as a faint shimmer in the distance like heat rising off sand. Then the sea churns in smooth spirals, not rough but unsettling. Even Nami has no words, her face fixed in concentration over her log pose. Something's not right, she says. The needle isn't just spinning, it's being pulled. Luffy grins. Sounds fun. Sanji narrows his eyes at the horizon. You say that about everything. Suddenly the ship rocks not from a wave but from pressure, like the ocean itself inhaled. Then boom! An eruption of spray and wind sends the Sunny tilting sideways. You stagger, gripping the rail, your body tensing on instinct. But your shadow, your second self, moves differently. It shifts to support your weight, grounding you as the world sways. Zoro is already at the bow hand on his swords. Something's here. Chopper's ears perk up. I hear it too. A heartbeat. Robin's eyes narrow. No, not a heartbeat, a resonance. You feel it. That same pulse from the core. It's distant, duller than before, but familiar. You close your eyes, reach inside, and you hear it. A tremor, a cry, the echo of another shadow core. You gasp. There's another one. Everyone turns. Brooke grips the railing tightly. That's impossible. The core you absorbed came from Moria's horde. There weren't any others. It's not a full one, you murmur, but something's awakening. Robin gently touches your shoulder. A remnant. You nod, maybe, or something. Calling it. Usopp gulps. Do we have to answer? Luffy punches the air. Of course we do. Sanji grits his teeth. This has trap written all over it. But you've already made the decision. Whatever's out there, it's connected to you. The Shadow Core didn't die. It changed. And if something is calling to it now, it means your journey isn't finished. Nami groans, checking her maps. We're heading for an uncharted island. There's no name, no record. Even better, Luffy says, grabbing the helm. Let's find out what's there. The Sunny sails on. The island appears by mid-afternoon. It doesn't rise from the sea it emerges. Like it was always there, but only now chooses to be seen. Blackstone cliffs rise at sharp angles. Forests of twisted trees claw at the sky. The beach isn't sand, but fine ash. The shadows here are thicker, not longer, but heavier. You feel it the moment you step ashore. This place remembers, and it remembers you. You walk carefully, shadow coiling slightly at your feet like a predator sniffing the wind. Every step you take deepens your connection like the island is reading you. Zoro, Robin, and Luffy accompany you while the others set up a perimeter. As you press deeper into the forest, you find the first sign, a circle of ancient stones carved with patterns you've seen before in the vault under Thriller Bark. But these are older, less refined, raw. Looks like a temple, Robin says, tracing a symbol with her fingers. Dedicated to those who linger beneath the sun. Shadow spirits, you ask. She nods. You kneel, placing your hand on the central stone. A shock of energy bolts up your arm. Your shadow surges outward, flooding the entire stone circle in a single sweep. Zoro grabs his hilt, but you raise a hand. I'm okay, you say. It's welcoming me. Luffy squats beside you, grinning. Do you think it's another power thing? You nod slowly. It's not a power, it's a decision. Someone buried a fragment here, something left behind. Robin frowns, but why? Because they wanted someone to find it. The wind shifts. The trees groan. And from behind the standing stones, a shadow rises. Not a person. A shape. Half-formed, tall, cloaked in layered veils of night. Its face is a smooth mask. No eyes, no mouth. Its movements are slow but full of intention. It glides rather than walks. Zoro's swords are already half drawn. You step forward. The shadow bows. Robin inhales. It's not alive. It's a construct, a guardian. You understand it instantly, not with your mind, but with your shadow. It's here to test you. Only one who understands the burden may carry it. You step into the circle. The creature mirrors you. Zoro watches tense. You sure about this? You nod once. I have to. The guardian raises its hand. Your shadow rises to meet it. The two connect. And suddenly you are elsewhere. Darkness. Weightlessness. Memories swirl, not yours, not the girl's, someone else. A wielder. You see flashes. A lone figure controlling shadows to protect a city from war. A desperate battle on a bridge of bone. A moment of betrayal as the wielder is torn apart not by enemies but by the shadows themselves. Too much. Too fast. Too alone. You stumble in the vision knees, hitting an invisible floor. The guardian watches you silent. Then its voice, not sound but presence, enters your mind. Do you still choose to carry this? You hesitate. And then you rise. I do. The guardian bows once. Your vision snaps back. You're in the circle again. The figure dissolves into mist and leaves behind a single shape. A sigil. A mark that floats into your chest and locks into place beside the core. You stumble backward. Zoro catches you. You good? You breathe slow and steady. Stronger. Wiser. And no longer just a vessel. Now you're a chosen bearer. Your shadow flickers once. And then smiles. The trek back to the Sunny is quiet. Not awkward, reverent. Even Luffy walks in silence, hands behind his head, eyes on the shifting canopy above. Zoro moves beside you, ever alert but with a strange calm in his movements. Robin walks just behind, scribbling in her notebook with careful precision. No one asks what happened in the stone circle. They felt it. The mark inside your chest, this new presence, this sigil, doesn't throb like the Shadow Core did. It doesn't pulse with hunger or pressure. Instead, it balances you, grounds you. Your steps feel heavier now, not with burden, but with purpose. Like the earth responds to your weight, like the shadows beneath your feet accept it. You're not a host anymore. You're a keeper. Back at the ship, the crew waits anxiously. Usopp is pacing. Chopper bounces on his hooves, scanning the trees. Sanji leans against the mast, smoking slower than usual. They all look up when they see you emerge from the tree line. Nami's arms are folded, but her brow softens. You're back. Yeah, you say climbing aboard. What did you find? Brooke asks. You look down at your shadow, which curls across the deck like a flowing robe. A promise, you reply. They wait. You glance up. I wasn't the first person to carry this power, but I might be the first to survive it. That Shadow Guardian. It wasn't protecting a weapon. It was protecting regret. Someone tried to use this power to save people. They failed. And their will was buried there. Usopp shudders. Okay, so we're definitely not going back to that island. Luffy grins. But we got stronger, right? You nod. All of us did. Sanji flicks his cigarette overboard. Good, then let's eat. Later you sit alone on the crow's nest. Night has fallen. The sea glows faintly with plankton light, and the stars above sparkle like scattered treasure. Your shadow stretches long along the wood. It moves with the ship now, not against it. You flex your fingers. The sigil inside your chest hums, not loud, not insistent. Just there, a reminder. Below you hear laughter Luffy and Usopp arguing about meat Sanji threatening them with ladles. Chopper giggling in between. Zoro's laugh is rare, but it echoes now. Even Robin chuckles softly as Brook plays something low and soothing on his violin. You close your eyes and breathe in the air. It no longer smells like danger. It smells like home. But then, the sigil pulses once, not in warning. In awareness. A flicker. A future. A presence far, far away. Wakes. Not Moria. Not another shadow bearer. Something older. Distant. But moving. You open your eyes. The breeze turns cool against your face. You whisper. Not yet. The pulse fades. You descend back to the deck. Everyone's gathered for the last round of food. Sanji hands you a bowl without a word. Nami slides a drink your way. Luffy waves you over excitedly. Come on, he says mouthful. You're part of the crew now. You smile. Yeah, I am. As you sit, your shadow stretches out beneath the table. And for the first time, it's laughing with them. The next morning, the Sunny rides a calm sea under golden skies. The aftermath of Thriller Bark the Shadow Vault and the Guardian's trial feels distant but not forgotten. You move differently now. Every part of you is tuned aware. The way you walk, the way you breathe, the way your shadow flows with you, it's all changed. You've passed through fire and memory and come out whole. But the Grand Line never lets things stay still for long. You're in the crow's nest again, eyes scanning the horizon with Robin's eternal pose in hand. Below, Nami's voice rings out from the helm. Land ahead. You snap the scope into place. A hazy outline forms on the edge of the world. Towering trees. Waterfalls spilling upward into the sky. A sky island, or at least something with its bones in the clouds. The crew gathers around the bow, the wind filling the Sunny's sails as excitement builds. Luffy is practically vibrating. We going up there? We'd need a knock-up stream or an air current system. Frankie says already checking his blueprints. Robin closes her book. This isn't listed on any map I've seen. It could be a floating island that's not tied to seafloor movement. You stare ahead. The sigil in your chest pulses just faintly. Not in alarm, in curiosity. I think it's calling us, you murmur? Zoro raises an eyebrow. Another trial. Not like before you say. Not pain, purpose. Brook's voice is softer than usual. Every great journey has more than one shadow to face. Nami adjusts the sails, then let's chart it. Sanji kicks into the kitchen. I'm not facing unknown death without brewing a decent coffee first. The Sunny tilts slightly as it banks toward the rising island. Clouds break apart around it, revealing what looks like a city balanced precariously on cliffs with strange towers shaped like hourglasses. The closer you get, the more your shadow shifts. It's not warning you. It's leaning in. And you know what that means. There's something there. Something important. Something next. Luffy places a hand on your shoulder. Ready for whatever's up there. You grin. I'm made for whatever's up there. You don't mean it arrogantly. You mean it with certainty, forged in memory, sealed in darkness, refined by Nakama. The crew sets anchor beneath the island's base. Rope's sky dials and Frankie's wild mechanical ideas are prepared to hoist you upward. Before the climb begins, you stand at the Sunny's edge. You let the wind wash over you. You feel your shadow trail behind you, no longer just an echo, but a witness. Thriller Bark didn't break you. It named you. And now as you stare up at a place untouched by charts, you realize this isn't the climax of your story. It's the launch point. You're no longer surviving the One Piece world. You're living in it. A straw hat, a shadow bearer, a dreamer, a fighter, and somewhere far above waiting in the clouds. Your next challenge calls your name. You smile, because this time you're ready to answer. You stand on the edge of the Sunny's deck, gazing up at the island floating above your shadow, calm at your side, your heart steady, your path clear. Not long ago, you were a castaway tossed into a storm without memory, without power, without purpose. You didn't belong. You barely survived. The shadows tried to consume you, and the world threatened to forget you. But you fought. You learned to listen to pain, to carry memories that weren't yours, and to become a voice for those who couldn't speak anymore. You found allies and legends. You made friends in chaos. You earned your place, not just on the Thousand Sunny, but in the world of One Piece itself. And now, you look up knowing the next island is no longer a mystery. It's an opportunity. A chance to write the next chapter. A new shadow waits. Maybe more. And you won't walk into it afraid. You'll walk forward with your crew behind you, your shadow beside you, and a dream still burning in your chest. So, take this moment in. Breathe deep. Feel the deck, the salt in the air, the thrum of adventure on the wind. Because the next step isn't just a climb. It's your rise. If you made it this far, thank you, Nakama. There are more stories to tell. More shadows to face. More seas to sail. So hoist the anchor, grip the rope, and climb. We'll see you at the next island.